Life and justice must prevail. This Russian aggression must end with our victory.
Tonight, Ukraine's president takes his message directly to Canadians. A historic address to Parliament. Volodymyr Zelenskyy calls on allies to see them through the war.
We will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes.
What Canada is offering. Breaking tonight, a BC bounty shot and killed executing a search warrant.
His death is senseless and heartbreaking. He simply went to work today.
2 other officers seriously hurt. The fallout from that bombshell allegation Canada leveled against India.
We hope that they engage with us so that we can get to the bottom of this very serious matter.
We break down the quickly escalating diplomatic tensions.
This is The National with Ian Hannamansing.
And we begin with that breaking news from British Columbia. An RCMP officer killed and 2 others seriously injured in the line of duty.
This is a terrible day. The on-duty death of Constable Rick O'Brien is the most difficult moment I've had in my career.
Officers were executing a search warrant in Coquitlam, just outside of Vancouver. The situation quickly turning violent. Constable Rick O'Brien shot and killed. As police officers struggle with their grief, officials are investigating the deadly encounter that stunned witnesses. Renee Filipponi walks us through what we know so far.
It was a heavily armed response to a shooting that left 1 RCMP officer dead, 2 others seriously injured, and witnesses shocked.
Then we noticed an officer limping. He was bleeding from a wound in his leg. He had a tourniquet on.
Another man in handcuffs was taken away in an ambulance.
It is with deep and profound sadness that I must advise you today of the on-duty death of Ridge Meadows Constable Rick O'Brien.
O'Brien was 51 years old, a husband and father to 6 children.
His death is senseless and heartbreaking. He simply went to work today, and he was killed doing his duty and keeping his community safe.
Officers from the Ridge Meadows RCMP were executing a search warrant at an apartment complex in the nearby city of Coquitlam, east of Vancouver. Executing search warrants is a routine police duty, but it can be dangerous, says this former officer.
You're going into somebody else's domain. You don't have really the advantage of surprise or the knowledge of the area that the person that is inside would have.
Members of the community are still processing the grief and shock.
We all must feel that those that are there to protect us and to put themselves in harm's way also face risks that none of us would wish upon anyone. So this was a horrible day for so many people.
BC's police watchdog has also been brought in to investigate as officers on the scene try to piece together what happened amid a loss of one of their own.
To see police officers across this country killed trying to protect their communities enrages me.
And Renee, what more do we know about the suspect?
Well, we know the suspect remains in hospital. He's in his mid-20s and known to police. We're also told there were multiple officers there to execute this search warrant. Now, police won't say if it's gang or drug related, but that it was part of a longer-term investigation by the Ridge Meadows RCMP. Now, Ian, for those 2 other officers who were injured, one has been treated and released from the hospital. The other remains in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Renee Filipponi in our Vancouver newsroom. To Ontario, where Ukraine's president is wrapping up a whirlwind visit to Canada tonight, his first since Russia invaded his country. His message to Canadians is simple: thank you for your support, and please keep it coming.
Ukraine and Canada are the same. We stand and we fight for life. Ukraine, not genocide, will be victorious in this war.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressed Parliament and later a crowd of people in Toronto who have deep ties to Ukraine. Under tight security, he vowed to win that war with Canada's continued help. And more of that was announced today in the form of new military aid. Ashley Burke takes us through those details, and a remarkable day in the House of Commons.
After a mixed reception in Washington, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy turning to Canada for a warmer welcome.
You've been with us from first days of full-scale war.
19 months later, Ukraine's in the midst of a full-scale counteroffensive against Russia. As it grinds forward, Zelensky's scrambling for long-term support.
I'm announcing $650 million in new military assistance over the next 3 years to supply Ukraine with 50 armored vehicles, including armored medical evacuation vehicles that will be built by Canadian workers in London, Ontario.
During his first visit to Canada since the war began, Zelenskyy addressed Parliament,
Je te remercie, Canada.
thanking Canada for sticking by his side.
Canada's support for Ukraine with weapons and equipment has allowed us to save thousands of lives.
What Russia's done, he said, must not go unpunished.
It is genocide. What Russian occupiers are doing to Ukraine.
He's now looking to Canada not just for aid, but for diplomatic leadership for his peace plan and to hold Russia accountable.
It is never enough only to choose the right side. You also need to be able to be a leader on the side, and you do. You are a leader.
Zelenskyy's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War. Zelenskyy's parting words, what Canada's Governor General taught him today, a word N.W.T.
She said, the meaning of this word is don't give up, stay strong against all odds. And so shall it be. Ayunata, Canada, Ayunata, Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
So Ashley, new financial support from Canada, but Zelenskyy really focused on the role he hopes this country can play in ending the war.
Yeah, and Canada's now committed more than $9.5 billion to help Ukraine since last year. But what it also has to offer is its reputation as a global peacekeeper. And experts say that Zelenskyy wants to leverage that credibility by having the Prime Minister use his voice to help him at the G7 and G20 tables, especially at a time when 19 months into the war, support is starting to soften for some.
All right, Ashley, thank you. From Ottawa, Zelenskyy traveled to Toronto to meet with business leaders and others who have deep ties to his country. Thomas Dagla is at the location of this final event of the day. And Thomas, what's the scene there?
There's electricity in the air, Ian, after President Zelenskyy spent a couple days trying to bolster political support in Washington and in Ottawa. This evening, he is speaking directly with staunch supporters, hundreds of members of the Ukrainian-Canadian community here to cheer him on and show that his support is far and wide in this country.
Hundreds of supporters packing Toronto's Fort York Armory. Ukraine's president got a loud welcome. Capping off his whirlwind tour with a special message to those here with ties to his country.
Thank you, and I thank you all of you, that you are active. You let others feel Ukraine's vibe, the vibe of Slava Ukraini.
Earlier, Volodymyr Zelenskyy met with Canadian business leaders amid a series of stops to bolster support in North America. Police with sniffer dogs ensured tight security as the Ukrainian-Canadian community prepared to see Zelenskyy in person.
A lot of people have been touched by the war, obviously. All of us have friends and family that have lost someone.
Crowds arrived with a mix of emotions. For Zelenskyy, it would be a rare public event overseas since Russia's invasion. Among those invited, some were raised in Canada, remaining proud of their Ukrainian roots. Others fled Ukraine and have built a life here.
It means a lot. Actually, I saw him. I remember when he came as a comedian to Zaporizhia, and I was 8 years old. My mom took me to his a concert, I would say, and that was something big because I remember I was having flowers and I came to stage to give them to him.
For me, he's a legend.
Now, from here, Zelenskyy is traveling to Pearson Airport, and from there he will leave Canada after this whirlwind tour of the United States and Canada. People here hope that Zelenskyy will leave with the message that he has strong support in North America. Not only that, but a boost for the morale of Ukrainian Canadians who fled the war and are now here, Ian.
Thomas Dagler in Toronto tonight. And while Zelenskyy was here, his military was on the attack against Russia's Navy. At least one Ukrainian missile hit the headquarters of Russia's Black Sea Fleet in Crimea. The Russian Defense Ministry said one service member was missing. Ukraine has been ramping up attacks in that region, which is a key hub for Russia in this war. A senior Indian diplomat who was ordered expelled from Canada has left the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly announced the expulsion of the diplomat on Monday. In connection to allegations the government of India was involved in the killing of Canadian Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India has denied that claim and expelled a Canadian diplomat in response. We'll be going deeper into those allegations and breaking down Canada's growing rift with India with a historian specializing in the region and our Evan Dyer. That's coming up. The fate of a junior hockey coach accused of sexually assaulting a teenage player more than 20 years ago is now in the hands of a judge. Bernie Lynch was charged after the player told his story in a CBC News investigation 2 years ago. Jonathan Gatehouse broke that story, and tonight he tells us what happened when Lynch took the stand in his own defense.
On the stand, Bernie Lynch was at times fiery and combative, like his persona behind the bench for more than 40 years. The 69-year-old, a former head coach of the WHL's Regina Pats, forcefully denied he sexually assaulted a then 17-year-old prospect who cannot be identified in the summer of 1988. "This is all baffling to me," he said of the former player's testimony. "This is not an accurate picture of Bernie Lynch. I would not do this." Lynch told the court he was at a coaching clinic in Calgary on the night of the alleged assault, providing this team photo taken at a tournament that began 5 days later as his only proof. Under cross-examination, the Crown pointed to newspaper articles showing Lynch's tournament team played its first game 9 days after he says he flew to Calgary. The Crown also challenged Lynch's claims his focus was to get the player a spot with the Pats. Lynch said it was important he got this little notch on my belt for recommending him. The Crown shot back, so the complainant wasn't the notch on the belt that you hoped he would be. Lynch was the sole witness in his defense, while the prosecution called two, the complainant and the woman he was dating in the summer of 1988. She also can't be named under a publication ban. The woman testified via video that the player had been excited to help out at the hockey school Lynch was running in Regina, but his demeanor had changed when he returned home. There was a cloud about him, she said. The woman told the court the player eventually confided to her he had been sexually assaulted by Lynch, and she informed the player's parents. The Crown says the former player has carried a heavy burden over the past 35 years.
They're hard secrets to keep. They're hard secrets to tell, in my experience. I hope that he feels some sense of relief, maybe even closure, having had an opportunity to be heard.
A verdict is scheduled to be handed down December 1st. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Regina.
U.S. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez has been indicted on charges of bribery. Prosecutors allege he and his wife took bribes of cash, gold bars, and a luxury car. They said he used his influence to benefit the government of Egypt. The 69-year-old is now stepping down as the chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He denies the charges. An escalating migrant crisis is once again playing out on the southern U.S. border tonight. A surge of people crossed over from Mexico this week. So many that one Texas border city declared a state of emergency. Paul Hunter shows us the lengths they're going to cross the border.
Just when you might think you can no longer be dismayed or stunned by scenes from the U.S.-Mexico border, the latest images from Eagle Pass, Texas are a reminder the migrant crisis is not only still in play, but it continues to grow.
Queremos pasar por un mejor futuro.
We want a better future, says this Venezuelan. The journey's been very difficult, he says. We've been mistreated, we are hungry, we have suffered. This week alone, some 9,000 migrants from Point South have crossed into the U.S. at Eagle Pass. 3,000 just on Wednesday, even scraping through barriers of razor wire, underlining the desperation held by all. It is overwhelming Eagle Pass, where the mayor is now pressing the U.S. government to do more.
The word is getting out. It's kind of a come one, come all type of approach, and you have all these people coming. There is no consequence, and I just want to say that I think that this is unacceptable.
Most of the migrants are fleeing corruption or violence in Central and South America, but say they're frustrated by waits of up to 3 months on the Mexico side while trying to follow the latest U.S. guidelines for claiming asylum at regular crossings. And they say there's growing violence while they wait in Mexico, and so they do this. Twice this week, migrants were swept away while crossing, one of them a child. Most who make it then immediately turn themselves in to U.S. Border Patrol agents and hope for the best. Challenging as it's been this week along the border, images from elsewhere in Mexico highlight many thousands more are still headed north. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Around 5,600 U.S. auto workers are joining thousands of others on the picket lines.
What do we want? Contract! What do we want? Now!
The United Auto Workers Union expanded its job action today to 38 parts distribution centers across the U.S. It targets GM and Chrysler's parent company Stellantis, though it spared Ford, citing progress in talks with that company. Last week, around 13,000 U.S. auto workers walked off the job. The strikes are slowing down work at auto parts plants here in Canada, with some forced to adjust their production schedules. A BC man says Canada Post is to blame after a $300,000 check goes missing.
How do you lose a piece of registered mail?
Why the bank can't stop it from getting cashed.
My dreams are dashed.
Taiwan gets ready for an attack.
If China lands here, then what?
We head to Taiwan, where even volunteers are preparing. And a unicorn landing.
Yeah, girl, I'm coming for you!
We'll give that a 10 out of 10. We're back in 2.
Doesn't that concern you?
No, sir. It terrifies me.
Amazon Prime Video is following Netflix and Crave by adding commercials to its platform. Starting early next year, subscribers will have to sit through ads or pay a higher monthly fee to avoid them. Canadian rates haven't been announced yet, but U.S. customers will have to pay an extra $2.99 a month to watch ad-free content. A Quebec man says his retirement plans are in jeopardy after Canada Post lost a $300,000 check. Leah Hendry now on the family's push for answers and accountability.
The mystery of what happened to Louis Kavaratzis' registered mail started back on August 3rd.
Okay, 8:25 a.m., as I stated earlier, notice card left indicating where and when to pick up item.
That's when he got this notice in his Canada Post mailbox. But when he went to pick it up, Kavaratzis says a staff member told him while they remember handling the envelope, they couldn't find it.
I was just in astonishment. How do you lose a piece of registered mail within 2 hours?
You know what, it's not like it was a couple $1,000s.
Kavaratzis' brother, George, is the executor of their father's estate. He sent the $301,000 inheritance check through registered mail from Ontario. For weeks, Canada Post tried to hunt down the missing envelope, but it didn't turn up.
Nobody knows where it is. The police were involved, lawyers are involved, nothing.
Louis is emotionally drained. He says he planned on using this money for his retirement.
My dreams are dashed of that ever happening.
That's a very unfortunate circumstance. And
banking expert Omar Ferris says sending a wire transfer is the most secure way to send large sums of money, followed by a bank draft, then a certified check. While it's challenging to flag a certified check or stop it from being cashed, Ferris says it's not impossible.
Step 1, contact the bank right away. Put a stop payment on that check right away. And the third piece is some banking institutions will almost issue a bond agreement.
After CBC contacted TD Bank, it offered to issue a new check if George signs an agreement promising to repay the money if the check is cashed by someone else. But George declined, saying he didn't feel comfortable with the risk of having to repay the full amount. For its part, Canada Post apologized for what it described as an unfortunate and frustrating experience. Leah Hendry, CBC News, Montreal.
After 6 weeks, the hamlet of Enterprise in the Northwest Territories has lifted its evacuation order. Residents can now return home, but many say they don't have much to return to.
It's devastating, it's heartbreaking, it's just awful.
90% of the small town has been wiped out by wildfires, and the mayor says only 8 homes have been spared. He says the damage is an opportunity to rebuild from nearly a blank slate. The U.S. backs Canada in the diplomatic row with India.
I firmly reject the idea that there is a wedge between the U.S. and Canada.
But why are other allies largely silent? My conversation about the explosive allegations. The women who chase danger.
There's what I like to call a component of badassery to storm chasing.
What it takes and why they do it.
You'll drive for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. It's totally worth it.
But first, we're in Taiwan with a looming threat of invasion. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. A firefighter is dead after an industrial fire in Taiwan. It broke out at a golf equipment factory, that fire triggering an explosion. 10 people are reported missing, nearly 100 others were injured. Staying in Taiwan, where its defense minister is calling recent military moves by China abnormal. There has been a reported spike in Chinese aircraft and warships operating near the island this week. The threat of an invasion of Taiwan by China has loomed for years. And as David Common shows us, the island says it's ready if that happens.
Meet Taiwan's resistance. If China attacks, these volunteer defenders stand ready. They may practice with low-power air guns, but say they'll back the Army's response. We won't surrender, says one of the men. Anyone who invades will face us. He doesn't want to show us his face or reveal his name, fearing Chinese intelligence would target him for cyber attack. Showing the fight for Taiwan is already underway.
China's intimidation towards Taiwan has been ongoing for the last 20 years.
Taiwan's deputy foreign minister points out invasion is just one threat from China. It regularly sanctions the island's exports to the mainland, he says, as punishment.
To weaponize its economic relationship with partners.
Lee believes Taiwan and Canada have both faced Beijing's fury, including with alleged election interference. But since Taiwan produces most of the world's supply of critical semiconductors used for everything from cars to phones, that main export, he says, provides some safety.
And it's quite unlikely for the time being that China will weaponize its import of semiconductor from Taiwan, because that will create an even larger economic impact on Chinese economy than Taiwan's.
Still, Taiwan expects a full-scale invasion remains possible, one that would likely see Chinese troops landing on this very beach. If China lands here, then what? If they control this area, they could easily get into the city, the presidential office, and also the military command base, says retired Lieutenant Commander Li Shelu. And he says Taiwan needs to be ready. It's already extended mandatory military service and been given $1 billion in weapons by the U.S., a deterrent against a war it has anticipated for years. David Common, CBC News, Wazhou, Taiwan.
Now we turn to the news shaping your world. Storm chasers sounding the alarm on climate change. But first, the dramatic breakdown between Canada and India. An explosive accusation.
A potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Then the fallout, diplomats expelled, partnerships under pressure.
I firmly reject the idea that there is a wedge between the U.S. and Canada.
All in the space of days. There are concerns that the consequences of linking India to a political assassination on Canadian soil have only just begun as the rift between the two countries widens. Joining us, Nilesh Bose, a professor of South Asian history at the University of Victoria, and our own Evan Dyer, who's been covering the story extensively. Thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Evan, you brought us those exclusive details about the intelligence that led to the federal government's claim that agents of the Indian government killed Nijjar. What evidence do we currently have to support that?
Well, because there's both security intelligence information and a criminal investigation, we only really have part of half of the picture. That's the security intelligence part that the Canadian government based its claims on. Its allegation, it would say, is definitely not based on conjecture. It's based on pretty solid evidence, they've told us. And that includes human intelligence, so it includes people talking about what happened. And it also includes signals intelligence, which are intercepts of communications. And some of those communications involve Indian diplomats present in Canada, we're told, and some of them were provided by a Five Eyes ally. So that ally not only helped to obtain that information, but also would be aware through their own independent means of what backs up this allegation.
Nilesh, at the beginning of the week, this was a bombshell of a story, and the Indian government said, we just don't believe it. Show us the proof, we don't believe it. Now that there's been a little bit more support of this story through, including other things, reporting by Evan, what changes have we seen in the reaction of the Indian government?
I think there has been an acknowledgement that Indian intelligence has been apprised of different kinds of information that have been shared with the allies of Canada and the United States and the Five Eyes, but still India is quite adamant in asking for clear evidence, which has not been released. But as has been noted, due to national and international security issues, such evidence probably will not be forthcoming for some time. Also, India, as we know, has stopped processing visas for Canadians, and is causing more and more India to showcase its strength in the global stage.
I'm going to ask both of you about Canada's allies, and particularly the other members of the Five Eyes, intelligence countries, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. Evan, describe for us how those other countries have responded so far.
I'd say the most public one has been the United States, although the Financial Times reported that not only President Biden, but also some other unnamed Five Eyes leaders directly raised this when they met one-on-one with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. So those haven't been denied, those claims. And typically when false claims like that are published, they are denied. So I think we can assume that that is true, that President Biden did indeed raise this directly. And I think that that's as much as anything else a reason for the slight change in attitude that we have seen coming out of India. I think it was one thing when there was some early reporting, since denied by the White House and then retracted by the Washington Post, saying that the United States had sort of rebuffed Canada's appeals for support. We've seen John Kirby and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan come out and very strongly contradict that and issue some pretty strong statements of support for Canada. And as a result of that, I think we've also seen a more cautious language from New Delhi than when New Delhi thought that Canada was in this all by itself.
So if this story is what the Canadian government says it is, agents of a foreign government killing someone on Canadian soil, Nilesh, you might think there would be this chorus of international support, particularly from Canada's close allies. Are you surprised that hasn't happened?
Well, I think that the global community has also noted that India has for a very long time maintained that Canada has harbored elements that have been oppositional to India, so-called terrorist elements, and these issues have not been resolved. Though if it is to be seen and proven that India is responsible for these attacks, India will have to take responsibility for that. It is a bit surprising, though, that more states have not come out and entered into this discussion.
And Nilesh, I would assume that part of the reason for that is the importance of India strategically to a lot of countries around the world, but also just its size and the potential trade implications of that. But do you think that's played into the sort of lack of strong international support here for Canada?
I think so. I think there's both a sense that India has a position on this issue that should be respected. On the other hand, India, as you've mentioned, is a vast entity, the largest democratic nation state in the world, and it is pivotal to the Indo-Pacific and to any notion of security in that region that would contain China. So every entity in the world that is looking at this is careful not to antagonize India.
And Evan, what about the politics? Oh, yeah, sorry, jump in. I'm sorry.
I mean, actually, just today, if you look, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was meeting with his Indian, Japanese, and Australian counterparts for the Quad security dialogue. So the U.S. is certainly trying to draw India closer and use it as a foil to China, and other countries feel the same way, and also on top of that have other issues, like the U.K. is in the late stages of free trade talks with India, for example. If you look in the past year, you'll see that France and Australia both received Narendra Modi as guests in their country. So did the United States. So there's a lot of close ties to India and a lot of concern about keeping India, at the very least, as a sort of a neutral, non-aligned actor, but hopefully trying to draw it closer to the West. So that has muted what people would say compared to, for example, a situation where Canada was accusing some rogue state or some minor country where perhaps people would be more vocal in public. But I do think that it's important to note that according to the Financial Times, and not denied by those governments, that they did raise this in private with Narendra Modi. So I think they are concerned. They do recognize, too, that India has legitimate security concerns, right? I mean, people will remember that Indira Gandhi was assassinated by a Khalistani extremist. So countries are aware of that, and they want to respect that. But that doesn't mean that they would accept it up to crossing a line like sending somebody to be assassinated in a G7 country.
And Nilesh, do you have concerns at all of the impact that this dispute may have on Canadians or people in Canada with ties to India?
I think so. I mean, students and Indians in Canada today have been beset with messages, text messages and emails from their families and friends and relatives in India about their safety. As was implied, the Indian missions abroad often have been besieged with extremists in Canada, in the United States. There are reports of Hindu temples being defaced and vandalized in Canada, adding up to a sense of fear for Indians in Canada, though I think they are magnified and to some degree sensationalized by the diplomatic discussions happening today.
Well, Evan Dyer in Ottawa and Nilesh Bose in Victoria, thanks to you both.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Next, a group of women takes on an extreme job.
It takes guts to get out there and chase a storm.
So what draws them to do it? We go along for the ride next. Most weather a storm. They hunt it down.
There's what I like to call a component of badassery.
That's my AED, first aid kit.
Racing into the heart of a changing climate.
A physical shift of Tornado Alley.
100-year floods that are happening every 10, 20 years.
Chasing storms and witnessing dangerous new patterns. Terry Reith went on the road with a storm chaser in Saskatchewan and spoke to others who are pursuing that perfect shot and also gathering important data and raising the alarm.
Well, hello, Jenny.
Welcome to Saskatchewan.
Thank you. It's windy. There are wind warnings through southern Saskatchewan. Gusts to 90 kilometers an hour in a summer of severe weather everywhere. You show me what you have to bring to cover storms like this and winds like this.
So here's the gear that I carry along with.
Jenny Hagan is here to document. She's traveled through the night chasing what could be a dangerous storm.
Also, we bring along a wind meter here.
She takes wind measurements to report to Environment Canada, gathers on-the-ground information for the Northern Tornado and Hail projects, which investigate severe weather in Canada, while gathering photos and videos for her own social media channels.
And I'm here covering the significant August system that is going to be pushing into southeastern Saskatchewan. Welcome to my home away from home.
Thank you so much. It's cozy, I would say.
Very cozy.
She has a first-hand view of our weather and the forces that drive it.
I have just a passion for weather and the extremes of nature.
She's part of a network of independent storm chasers, often the first people in when wind, rain, or hail strike. In Saskatchewan, this year the story is drought. To the north and west, forest fires.
With these drought cycles that we have, you got the extreme dry temperatures that come in and really cause problems. And then we've also seen drastic swing the other way.
My background has followed the evolution of climate change research for the last 20 years.
In Colorado, Jen Walton is also hunting a storm.
We are currently in between this complex of storms and a whole lot of boundaries and new storms that are going up.
She's consulted with agencies such as FEMA on issues like climate change and resilience. She worries about the growing intensity of storms in areas which are unprepared.
Essentially what we're seeing is a physical shift of Tornado Alley that is impacting, for example, us as chasers here in Colorado. And then the severe weather that we do see is really at this point has been documented to be more extreme. So what we mean by that is warmer oceans pulling in even more moisture into what is now traditional Tornado Alley.
While storm chasing is about gathering images and documenting extreme weather, there's more to it, says Jen Walton. Learning about yourself, finding strength and camaraderie.
When I first started storm chasing, it seemed as though there weren't very many women in the storm chasing universe.
So she set up the online group Girls Who Chase.
There's what I like to call a component of badassery to storm chasing. It takes guts to get out there and chase a storm. The mission of Girls Who Chase is to empower and inspire.
A project that grew out of the pandemic caught on. Girls Who Chase now has 250 contributors in 15 countries, a global community providing training, support, and encouragement. In southern Manitoba, Shannon Bolesky answered the call.
I've got my AED, first aid kit.
Data analyst by day.
Hard hat, just in case I'm ever in any hail and I need to get out.
Storm chaser the rest of the time.
You know, you'll drive for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. It's totally worth it.
Her mission is to capture stunning images of storms. She also provides video and ground reports to Environment Canada and researchers.
From a climate change perspective, you know, we're going through extremes. That's what I'm seeing. It's not that things are necessarily getting warmer, which they are, but we are seeing extremes. Like we're seeing, you know, 100-year floods that are happening every 10, 20 years, right? It's more frequent, it's more extreme.
Got Brooklyn here, her first tornado, so what did you think of that one?
It was really exciting and really cool to see it.
Lately, Jenny Hagan has been bringing her daughter to work.
Do you remember like the howl of that wind?
Teaching her how to read storms and understand climate and weather.
We gave each other a big hug on being able to capture the first ever tornado together.
It takes courage to face a storm like this, to feel its power and capture its beauty, setting an example for the next generation. While learning from them, climate change can be managed, not feared.
My children's generation are very well aware of what's happening in this world, and we've seen them probably highly proactive in changing that. So I think they might have a huge influence on what we're going to see in the next 20 years.
Storm chasing is more a calling than a business. Long hours, little financial reward.
What in your mind constitutes a successful chase?
For me, a successful chase is capturing any extremes of nature. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a tornado.
Today, extreme weather is on everyone's mind. Storm chasers help us understand the forces behind it and how to stay safe.
So, potential risks, beautiful pictures, and Terry also mentioned how these storm chasers gather information that's useful for scientists.
Yes, Ian, researchers at the Northern Tornado Project at Western University say storm chasers can provide them with excellent on-the-ground information about where a tornado touches down, how much damage, hail size, and the like. And for meteorologists, it can help them make sense of what they're seeing on their satellites and radar. But there's also a warning that it's not for everyone. Impromptu storm chasers can get themselves into an awful lot of trouble quite quickly. Since 2005, 13 storm chasers have died, all but 3 of them, though, in motor vehicle collisions while they were chasing storms. Ian.
Terry Reith in Edmonton, thank you. Another story we're working on, adopted by Canadians after the Korean War, but was it under false pretenses? Here's a little bit of that report.
They say family runs deeper than blood.
Mama.
And that every family has a story.
Everybody was abandoned. Everybody had their name made up.
But what if you're adopted?
My life was so empty. Being adopted, you're so alone in this world.
What's your family story?
Based on some of the timing, I think my grandmother then left me somewhere.
And how much of it is true?
I understood that she had been abandoned.
Who should you believe?
People played God.
And what's the cost?
The Orphan Papers, Korean-Canadian adoptions on the breakdown in the coming days. But next, sticking the landing. The skydiving festival with a fairy tale ending in our moment. Summer always feels like it's gone too soon. True in Canada as it is in the UK, where this week a group of skydivers made the very most of its final days. Every year they get together for a good time and to show off their skills, but how they said goodbye to summer this year, well, that's our moment. Skydiving takes skill and precision, but landing on an inflatable unicorn on a slip and slide, that's next level. That's Jan pulling it off at the Skydive Langar Festival in Nottinghamshire, England this week. Only those with at least 200 jumps under their belt could go for the floaty, and try as they might. In the end, there was only Jan. I'm coming for you! Which perhaps makes him a unicorn?
That was the best one, yeah.
Don't you love the fact we live in a world where skydiving isn't enough? It has to have a competition of precision like that, and that, you know, they could have chosen any kind of target, but they chose a unicorn, an inflatable unicorn on a slip and slide. Perfect. A reminder, you can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. And you can join me live on Sundays for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio and CBC News Network. I'm Ian Hannah Manson.